With the BMW i3 closing the order books in the US this summer and soon to be finished in Europe as well, we want to say well done BMW, an amazing job with the i3, bringing that car to market with cutting-edge technology, a very comfortable EV that had plenty of pickup and good range for EVs at that time. But after that, BMW got stuck in a bit of a EV rut. Didn't make too many new cars, but times are changing and BMW can no longer bury their heads in the sand, which is why they have an aggressive release strategy for their EVs. And today we're talking about one of the best. The i4 is coming and it's going to be one of their main weapons. Stay tuned, we'll give you the details. Welcome to the channel. My name is Martin Lee. If you like what we do here, hit subscribe and the bell icon so you never miss a show. So let's begin by having a look at the BMW i4's exterior. And straight away, alright, elephant in the room, the big kidney grille that BMW have fallen in love with is still present. But this is all electric, it doesn't need to suck in oxygen to combust, so they've closed it off for aero reasons and given it a sheen. Also inside there is the sensor package. It seems less obstructive than its combustion counterparts and maybe it works better on the more shallow-fronted saloon models than their big SUVs. Okay, that's got that out of the way. Around the side, you'll barely notice that you're looking at the all-electric version. It's got a silhouette that's very recognisable as the BMW 4 Series. There's a strong indentation along the doors just below a sharp line that seems to connect the apex of the wheel arches. And what really stands out though is that blue flashing that drops from just behind the front wheel and runs along the bottom of the doors. At the back, it's all very BMW, with the shaping of the rear light clusters. Black trim at the lower end seems to lift the rear of the car, and there's more of that blue flashing around what looks like placeholders for, would that be exhaust pipes? BMW on an EV? That's their styling choice though. The interior, let's go inside. As plush as you would expect from a luxury BMW. We have a nice balance between screens and old school buttons to try and keep everybody happy. The center console angled slightly towards the driver, but the dominant feature is definitely the BMW curved display. Actually, two different screens, 12.3 and 14.9 inches respectively. They shape from behind the steering wheel across the center line of the car, displaying the usuals like driver information and the infotainment system. Well, it's a good looking car, isn't it? That kidney grille is going to divide opinion, but let's talk about dimensions. Is it a big car? Well, yes and no. Let's find out. Not big in the sense that it's not a big bulky SUV that seems so popular right now, but it's still a sizable car. It's nearly 5 meters long. The interior of the i4 will have plenty of space for most uses. Let's face it, no one's buying this car only for the school run and putting dogs in the back. It's a driver's car and it's made for that. There'll be enough room for 4 adults comfortably, and you could fit another one in the back in the middle if you really wanted to. In the boot, 470 litres of space, helped by the opening, which makes it easier to get things in and out, and that boot will expand to 1,290 litres if you put the seats down. The overall footprint of the car is big enough, with a wheelbase of 2.86 metres and an overall length of just under 5 metres. Interestingly, it'll have a ride height of 20 millimetres higher than its combustion counterpart, thanks to the batteries which are underneath. However, because of the weight of the batteries, the centre of gravity is actually 53 millimetres lower, and that helps the car feel more planted when you're driving with a bit of aggression or maybe on the corners. So what about performance? Well, two answers here, as there are two options. Both versions of the car have electrically excited synchronous motors with a power density of 2.14 kilowatts per kilogram. But we'll look at the figures and see what that really means for driving. Let's look at the modest of the first two models first, the eDrive 40. Now the 40 has a 250 kilowatt rear drive motor, 340 horsepower, 430 newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 kph dispatched in 5.7 seconds. Not lightning quick, but it'll feel rapid compared to its combustion counterparts. Moving up and we get to the M50. That is all-wheel drive with two separate motors, the rear-mounted one being a little more powerful. That combination is 400 kilowatts of power, 544 horsepower, and 795 newton meters of torque. Take it to the drag strip and you'll do 0 to 100 kph in 3.9 seconds. So the M50 is a properly rapid machine. And Tesla fans saying, yes, but the Model 3 is still quicker. Right? Okay, that's still a very fast car though. And I couldn't move on without mentioning this. When you're planting the pedal, it will play noises, artificial sounds. And they come from someone you may know. A collaboration with film music composer Hans Zimmer. Yes, the guy that did Lion King back in the day, and the Batman films, and Dunkirk with Christopher Nolan. He's done the sounds for this car. But you be the judge of whether or not that's a good feature. Now let's talk batteries, range and charging, all the details that us EV nerds love. The i4 has a battery with a gross capacity of 83.9 kilowatt hours. Usable is 80.7, so that's a good size by current standards. How far can you travel? Range for the two models are 510 kilometers WLTP for the high-performance M50 and almost 600 kilometers for the more modest model with the rear motor. So in winter driving, maybe it'll be cold and some inclement conditions, that can drop into the 300s very quickly. In summer, if you're just around town, it'll be well over 600. The drag coefficient is 0.24, and that helps the i4 slip along the motorways at a more efficient rate. Of course, to help with range, you have adaptive and individually adjustable regen braking. And as for charging, BMW's been very vague about what exactly we get, but we know that on AC, maybe your home charger, it'll take up to 11 kilowatts, which is very decent, particularly for those maybe in the US or those with three-phase that have faster AC chargers than the typical 7 kilowatts that I would have here on single phase. But it's worth noting, most homes have a charger around 7 kilowatts, so the i4 would take 12 hours in that case to go from 0 to full. On DC, the i4 looks to be well equipped, not the world's fastest, but still really good if you can find a charger, because they're still pretty rare, that will output up to 200 kilowatts, you can make the most of it. 200 kilowatt charging is not record breaking, but it's still so good in that segment of car. A 20 minutes comfort break and coffee break gets you enough topped up on a road trip to be back on the motorway and the highway in 20-25 minutes probably at the most. Something that will damage your range is towing. Now the i4 does have an option. It will come with an extendable and retractable tow hitch, rated for 1600 kilograms, but I don't imagine too many trailers being pulled too often out the back of an i4. As for price, look, this is a tough one. We're an international channel and I don't want to get too specific on pricing. You know how it is. Conversions, tax rates, etc. Incentives come in as well. But to give you some context, the BMW i4 M50, that's the top spec one here in the UK, where I am, starts about £64,000. That's all the taxes included, so, you know, do your own calculation. Compare that to a Tesla Model 3, starting around £60,000. So it's fair to say they're similar prices. Maybe you're paying a bit of premium there for the BMW if you're a brand fan, and you hit the options list and it does become pricier. In summary, so there you have the BMW i4 with its two different versions, and so good to see a manufacturer that had an early lead in EVs coming back strong and offering something other than it's another bulky SUV. The i4 will be a luxurious and sporty coupe that'll hopefully tempt many buyers away from the combustion counterpart. It's additive, it adds to the EV market. Only time will tell, and the sales figures will tell us as well if BMW have a winner on their hands. That's enough from us. Let us know what you think in the comments below about the BMW i4. I like it personally, but I've not driven it. Will it be a winner for BMW? Do the numbers fall too short of Tesla? And who's going to buy the i4? Will it steal from other EVs and cannibalize the EV market, or will it pull from the combustion buyers? I hope the latter. Hey, thank you so much for watching today. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Just click down there. It tells us that you enjoyed it and we'll make more like it. And we'll see you on the next one.